Hey y'all, it's Vinyl Vinyl, and today we're going to go over some reference books and some references for you collectors that are just starting out in the Sofubi game, especially when it comes to vintage Sofubi. I remember when I first started, there wasn't a lot of information online. It was kind of a little bit hard to navigate through the different forums. Thankfully, I was able to locate a book that has helped me out tremendously, specifically with vintage Godzilla. And as you're going to come and see with me when we take a deep dive, you'll see that it has a great illustration of different types of vintage Sofubi, ranging from minifigures to medium-sized figures to standards and jumbos, a good range. Of course, not everything is covered, as I'm going to point out in more detail, but it's a great way to kind of get an idea and a sense of what's really out there and what is, available. So definitely stay tuned. I'm also going to introduce another book that's more geared towards Ultraman, but we're going to take a deep dive into both of these books, specifically more on the Godzilla side. But if you do want to know more about Ultraman Sofubi, especially vintage Ultraman Sofubi, I will have a book that dedicates more in-depth information and pictures relating to Ultraman Sofubi. But for the purpose of this video, I'm going to be concentrating on the man, the legend, Godzilla. I guess he's not a man. The monster, Godzilla. So you guys can appreciate and see some of these vintage figures. Like I was saying, at first it was really hard to find this type of information. Sometimes I would kind of get led astray by the different types of reissues that exist. So definitely having these types of physical format books readily available to you, where you can quickly, use it as a reference page, as a reference to what you're trying to find, is a great resource. I know sometimes online when you do like a Google search, or you do a Google Lens, it might pop up stuff that looks similar to it but isn't exactly what you're looking for. And it's very easy to get confused, since a lot of the same colorways were kind of reissued by brands like M1, later by Bullmark when they came back again. So it's definitely a great resource where you can go back and check. All right, y'all, this is the first book that we're going to go over. It loosely translates to Monster Toys Godzilla Toy Museum, and this book is by Takashi Kigari and Yuji Nishimura, as you might know him from M1, the founder of M1. And it's photographed by Kataro Ina. This is definitely a great reference for anybody that's collecting. I was super fortunate enough to find this book on eBay for about $100. Originally, it was sold for 5,000 yen back in the day. This was back in 1993. So it's definitely shot up a lot in value as of recent. The last ones that I've seen on Yahoo Auction kind of end around 200, 250. I'm sure you can still find deals, but they're not popping up as often as they used to. Like I said, I was lucky to find this domestically on eBay, so I only paid $100 for it. Let's take a deep dive as I show you in-depth pictures of some of my favorite references that we're going to use. Just real quick, this is a back hit of the cover. As you can see, there's an original Marusan Mothra on there. And here in the front, we have the Bullmark Tin Godzilla. It's a tin toy that is remote controlled. Really awesome cover, really iconic. I really love this book, and we're going to go into it in depth so you guys can see what great resource it is. Alright, y'all, here's the cover again. I really love the typography and the really iconic Godzilla in the front. Really beautiful piece. I really like the choice of colors that they use and the overall minimalistic approach. When you open it up, you can see all the different Godzilla toys throughout the years, all the really iconic ones from model kits to Sofubi. So we're going to get started by just opening it up to the middle, to the core of it all, starting off with this super rare picture of a Mechagodzilla, a Bullmark Mechagodzilla, which is super hard and rare to find. I have yet to see any listed. The same goes with these super rare Megalons. Only a couple people that I know actually have these in their collection. same as the Hawaiian Gaigan, one of the rarest pieces, and of course the Hawaiian Hedora. So it's really awesome that this book shows you, an actual example of these vintage pieces where you wouldn't actually come across them, anytime soon. Like, for example, right now they're going to show this beautiful Minya that comes in this red and black colorway. You never see that in people's collection, as well as some of these other rare Gorosaurus. It's a great selection, although it doesn't have every single variant, as you can tell right here with these mini King Ghidorahs. But it's definitely a really good place to start if you want to get an idea of what's out there when it comes to vintage Bullmark Sofubi, as well as Marusan. As you can see right here, they got the main mini Godzillas and medium-sized Godzillas, as well as some of the J-Tails and some of the Hawaiian variants as well. Overall, really solid piece. I highly recommend if you guys could find it for a good deal. This book also has a great selection of miscellaneous items like your model kits, your plastic wind-ups, or really awesome pieces like this missile firing Mechagodzilla that I wish I could own in my collection. Originally, when I bought this book, I was actually into Bandai's. You can see right here the Tin Godzilla again. So let me show you some of those Bandai's that I used to collect. So I was super into, your regular kind of like 8-inch Bandai's, and then I got into the 1992 reissues from Bullmark, and yeah, these figures are the ones that got me into collecting. I was actually looking for a book that would show me more about these older Bandai's. Look at these beautiful Popies right here. But definitely a great book. If you're trying to get into Godzilla collecting, I would highly recommend it. Alright, y'all, next up we have this book right here. It's a very iconic book. It loosely translates to The Beautiful World of Monsters Part 1. This is by Saito Kozumori, and it says right here, Ultra Godzilla Monsters Soft Vinyl Encyclopedia. Of course, I'm reading this off of paper. It'd be impossible to just for me to read it off the top of my head. This book originally came out in 2008 by author Kazunori Saito, and it was photographed by Hatsuku Okanda. And I'm really fortunate to get this one in great condition. Normally you can't find the ubi, either it's missing or it's ripped or something, but this one's actually in great condition. This is the book that I would reference for you guys. Would be a good reference for you guys if you're getting into Ultraman kaiju, specifically stuff that's vintage. This is definitely the resource for that. Although it does have a couple of sections for Godzilla, it is not as fully in depth as I thought it was going to be with the Godzilla Toy Museum book. But it's definitely worth checking out. The photography in this is super inspiring, and it has really awesome shots of different vinyl characters, specifically more towards Ultraman, Ultra Q, Ultra 7, all that great stuff. But it's definitely one that's hard to find. Not hard to find, but definitely expensive. When I first got into collecting vintage in about early 2024, these were still going for about 100, 130, tops 150. Now they start off at about 280, 300. I was saying this book can be fairly expensive nowadays, although it's pretty available. You are looking at something between $280 to $350, and even some of the listings are around $400. So yeah, this book might not be for everyone, but I definitely recommend checking it out. It's a great piece of art, as you're going to see. We're going to take a deep dive into it, so definitely stay tuned and we'll check that out next. Alright, y'all, let's get right into it. So this is the cover. Once again, it's a really beautiful cover with all these vintage vinyls in the front. You can see the back hits of the vinyls as well when you turn the cover. When you open it up, you can see some of the author's notes about the book. It's really cool to mention that a lot of these toys were actually loaned by the great Brian Finn from Super 7. So it's really awesome that some of his toys made it to this magazine. Like I was telling you guys, the majority of this magazine slash book is catered towards Ultraman and Ultraman kaiju. So that's the main chunk of the magazine, of this reference book. So definitely, if you're into that part of collecting when it comes to vintage soft vinyl, I would highly recommend this book for you guys. You can tell that each shot is really thought out. I love the lighting and the simple black backgrounds. It really makes the soft vinyl and those really vibrant colors pop out with all the shine and the great detail that each photo has. I wish it had more of a Godzilla section, and we're going to see that in a second, how small it is. But first, let me show you guys some of these mini Ultraman figures. It really makes me want to get into collecting mini Ultraman. I love my minifigures, and they definitely don't disappoint. They have a huge catalog of vintage minis to collect. But let me show you guys now the small section that has some Godzilla toys. So it starts off right here with the Hawaiian Godzilla, as well as some Marusan pieces that we can see there. That yellow belly Gorosaurus. Some of the variants that are common, and some of them are harder to find, like the Flesh King Ghidorah. Like I told you guys in the other book, both of these Hawaiian pieces are super hard to find. The infamous Mechagodzilla, so many different ones. I really like the way they put some of the related toys next to each other. Like you're gonna see right here, they're gonna show some of the sets. But before that, they have these beautiful giants. Look at that Jet Jaguar, man. Don't you want to own one after you see that beautiful picture right there? But yeah, these are the sets that I'm telling you guys about. So you got your panoramic set, you got your UFO set. This is definitely a really cool book. Definitely highlights how beautiful these pieces are, like these Hawaiian Godzillas. And yeah, you can tell this is Brian's collection, because I've seen a lot of these toys on his Instagram or videos relating to Brian. So it's a super awesome book. It is a little bit on the expensive side. So if you're into collecting Godzilla like I am, I would highly recommend the Toy Museum one more. It's definitely more affordable and easier to find. My bad, I had the wrong cover right there. Alright, y'all. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I want to do more content like this when it comes to media. I do have a couple of vintage sonoramas and picture books and stuff like that from the late 60s, 70s relating to Godzilla. I do want to show you guys that. I will be getting a package from Japan next week, so definitely stay tuned for that. I'll probably do like either a reel on Instagram or like a short here on YouTube, kind of showing you guys what I picked up. And then after that, I think it'll be a good time to show you guys my standard size collection, as well as some of my jumbos. I don't have too many, but I'll kind of try to piece it in a way where you guys can enjoy it and see that little part of my collection. So thanks again for all the support. If you haven't seen my other videos, I definitely encourage you to check it out. I think I'm one of the only YouTubers here on this platform that focuses on vintage Sofubi. So if that's something you're interested in, definitely check it out. Most of my videos, I shoot them after work, and I try to get at least one video out every week. I've been pushing myself. I've been consistent for the last 3 to 4 weeks. So I definitely appreciate you guys showing me support. We're close to getting to 100 subscribers. So I just need that little push from the community to get to that first milestone. Definitely a lot of more content to come. And I appreciate you guys. With every video, I feel a lot more comfortable in front of the camera. And thanks a lot, for the community that's here, everybody that comments, everybody that's been showing support on Instagram, letting me know that they like my videos and stuff, for the people on Facebook groups, all those great people that come through every time to reciprocate that love. So I appreciate you guys. There's definitely more to come. Stay tuned. This is Vinyl.